Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Welcome. As usual, we are going to start with our series of webinars. However, we do want to leave 1 minute for those people who are still in the process of joining us. So we will be reframing the conversation at 3:01. Thank you. Okay, perfect. And we're back again. 3:01 it is. Thank you everyone for being here. For us, it's a pleasure having the opportunity of doing this webinar for all of you today. I want to introduce myself. My name is Maciel Popa. I am the Director of Marketing and Communications of CCD. However, today I will be taking the role of your host. In this particular occasion, I do want to welcome my amazing dream team, people with who I have the pleasure to work with every day, specifically our departments of customer success and operations. Today we have with us Tomas Bisonó, our customer success director, Oscar Perez, our director of operations, and Julia Hernandez, our senior customer success manager. Welcome all. It's great to have you here. How are you?
Hi, Maciel. It's great to be here once again, participating in another webinar on behalf of CCD. Really looking forward to sharing great content with our audience today.
Hi, Maciel, and welcome everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us while we discuss these important topics.
Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here. Let's get right to it.
Great, great. Well, I would like to definitely welcome you guys talking a little bit about your expertise as members of the CCD team. We do have here Tomas that has more than 20 years of experience in the industry of process improvement. We also have Julia, who have had a proven track record with CCD in growth. She's a very communicative and result focused customer service professional with more than 7 years already. She has visibility not only in the customer success area, but also within the operations. So there's kind of a very good combination there. And Oscar Perez, our director of operations. Oscar is currently one of our operations directors of CCD. He aspires on creating a people-driven culture, and well, Oscar is really have fun with CCD in the process of being with us because he have had the opportunity of creating and innovating specifically on all those health accounts. So to give you a little bit of a scope of CCD and what we are, what we do, how we can help you in the process. I do want to mention that we have been specialists for more than a decade. We have served more than 200 imaging locations. We have scheduled more than 750,000 appointments per quarter, and we service, this is amazing, 3 out of the 5 largest radiology firms in the United States. Hopefully we're going to be expanding, and which we are expanding already in verticals such as gastro and women's health center. So I don't want to take much because I know that this amazing team has all those answers that you were looking for. So Tomas, please take it to the moon.
Hey, thanks, and wonderful to have everybody here. First of all, welcome everyone that has joined this webinar, and thank you for setting aside a few minutes of your busy schedule to be here with us today. I am certain you will find some insights we will be sharing with you very, very useful. There are volumes upon volumes of information about how to perform high quality customer service. In the call center world, entire organizations have been constructed around the optimization of this practice. But attending to a customer complaint about a defective item or handling an airline reservation is very different from managing interactions with patients that may be contacting you for a life-preserving study. Having said that, I'll let Oscar lead us off with what we define as great patient satisfaction.
Thanks, Thomas. We at CCD believe in the human aspect of appointment. Thus, we consider patient satisfaction as the key indicator for measuring the quality of healthcare. Patient satisfaction affects clinical outcomes, patient retention, and of course, business outcomes. In essence, patient satisfaction affects the timely, efficient, and patient-centered delivery of quality healthcare. With this, we put a lot of effort and focus into enhancing the patient experience.
Thanks, Oscar. In other words, let's say this. If we do a good job in attending to the patient, meaning treating the patient as more than just an incoming call, we will assure that the experience is the best that we can be provided. Also, that patient will have a tendency to perform his or her next study with us. And finally, they will refer other friends and family members to us, which will improve our business. The main driver of all of this is to guarantee that the patient feels like he or she is being treated well by a specialist. How would you say we do that well at CCD, Oscar?
Well, Thomas, our experience servicing appointment scheduling is such that we have identified three main drivers of patient satisfaction, areas that we have turned into our main focus in the training process for all our specialists. These three areas are clearly identify each touch point our specialists interact with patients. Also, we dedicate significant resources towards the training process and training material. And finally, we have perfected quality measurement by identifying the right attributes that drive best-in-class quality assurance. So you see, our specialists start the first day of appointment scheduling having the right tools to start making an impact on the experience of the patient from the very first interaction they have with patients.
Yes, Oscar. So much has gone into perfecting that process. Now, let's dive a little deeper into what are the benefits of patient satisfaction. As we have mentioned already, patient satisfaction is an important indicator for measuring the quality assurance in healthcare. It also impacts the timely and patient-centered delivery of quality healthcare. And last but not least, is a very effective indicator to measure the success of your practice. Now, what are those so-called benefits of having high patient satisfaction? In the highly competitive world we live in, there are a large number of organizations that can provide radiology services to patients, but only a limited few have perfected the patient satisfaction side of the equation. To do that, practices must continue to keep in their top of mind that patients will always remember more how we made them feel and how easy it was going through the process of scheduling their appointments. So, Oscar, organizations that achieve this, how do they benefit?
Well, that's a great question, Thomas. And that's something we've always strived to lead our partners into understanding so that together we could achieve this sometimes elusive goal. First of all, we all know high patient satisfaction leads to high patient loyalty. Think about it. If we were to make an appointment, for example, for a CT scan, and I was treated amicably, don't you think I would try to search for that same experience again? Absolutely, right? But most importantly, since I already received it from my provider of choice, my tendency would be to seek out that experience with that same provider who made me feel like a real person.
That's very powerful, Oscar. And yes, you are right on the money. I, just like you, will seek that exact same experience. Now, let me ask this to Julia, who has been in the trenches with our operations department in the past and can speak firsthand about another one of the benefits of patient satisfaction, the so-called improved patient retention. In operations, there's always talk about retention. Given your experience, Julia, how can we improve patient retention by focusing on patient satisfaction?
Well, thanks, Tomas. I have something very, very interesting to share. Check this out. Did you know that according to the technical assistant research programs, if we satisfy one patient, the information reaches out to 4 patients. But if we annoy a patient, this information is reached to 10, which means that if we annoy this patient, we would need to satisfy 3 other patients just to stay even.
Wow, that surely can be serious, Julia, especially if we don't do our job in attending to the patient's needs. It is surely incredible what good and bad word of mouth can do for your practice. So we want to make sure that we don't drop the ball on this one. Okay, these last 2 benefits we have revealed to you today are great, but this next one really drives it home when it comes to a deeper impact on your business. What if we told you that patient satisfaction can provide best-in-class organizations with a lesser degree of vulnerability to price wars? Let me add a little bit of color to this one. You see, there is sufficient evidence to prove that organizations with high patient loyalty, something we already covered in this webinar, can command a higher price without losing their profit margin or market share. In fact, in a study conducted in Voluntary Hospitals of America, nearly 70% of patients were willing to pay more money if they were guaranteed a best-in-class experience. Now, is that powerful or what? And since we're speaking of profitability, of course, there is another one of those great benefits to the best in the business that can be shown by providing great patient satisfaction. One last piece of data that you may find very interesting is that it is estimated that in the US, the loss of patients due to dissatisfaction can result in the loss of over $200,000 in income over the lifetime of the practice. That's a number that rapidly jumps out of the page, don't you think? Great. We're making some progress and we're ready to move on. But before we do, there are 2 other benefits of patient satisfaction that we'd like to mention. The first one is improved staff morale and reduced turnover. And the second one is increased personal and professional satisfaction. Both of these are a result of continuous improvement of the patient scheduling process. All right. After covering these benefits of patient satisfaction, we are now ready to reveal the main drivers of patient satisfaction. Let's go there right now. There is an array of things that can drive best-in-class patient satisfaction, but our experience tells us 3 are the most important ones. Number 1, focus on quality assurance to drive improvements. Number 2, clearly identify all touch points with patients. And number 3, make emphasis on soft skill training. I think very few people can speak with complete authority on the topic of quality assurance as Oscar does. So Oscar, how do we at CCD leverage quality assurance as one of the key drivers to improve patient satisfaction?
Well, Thomas, quality could be as cumbersome as you would like it to be. The key is to clearly lay out the attributes that will improve the skills that our specialists need to develop in order to enhance the patient experience. For example, soft skills is the main one that comes to mind. More specifically, empathy. A call handled with empathy can make the day for a worried patient. We have many examples of people that call in nervous, and after that call, it was so seamless, the interaction, that they lose some of that fear. We at CCD have received great compliments for how well our patient scheduling specialists attend the patients. Quality assurance is one of the main areas we focus on behalf of our partners. CCD is so driven to improve the patient experience that some of our partners have deposited their confidence in us to manage the quality assurance for their in-house teams in the US. Maybe it's the perfect time to consider outsourcing your QA.
Of course, Oscars. A great quality assurance process is one of the stepping stones to successful patient satisfaction. But without the correct mapping of the scheduling process, we wouldn't know where to focus our efforts. This is the reason why it becomes imperative to understand all stages of the process where our patient scheduling specialists interact with patients. Julia, you understand the importance of this as you in the past had to go through the process of comprehending the entire patient scheduling workflow. Can you briefly tell us why this is so important?
Yeah, sure, Tomas. Understanding the workflow helps in streamlining the time our specialists take to handle each patient interaction. This gives each specialist the opportunity to focus on what really matters, which is the attending the needs of each patient and overall have control of the call.
Great. Sometimes the simplest things can contribute to improving the process. And of course, the service that we provide to the patient. One last thing we must go over again before moving into the last part of the webinar is soft skills. So let's go right there right now. For us, there are 5 soft skills any patient scheduling specialist must master. These are: number 1, patience; number 2, empathy; number 3, great communication; number 4, active listening; and number 5, a positive attitude. All call center specialists are at the heart of the customer service or patient experience. They often have to navigate challenging situations, ensuring the caller is satisfied and remains a loyal patient. Having the proper skills like those we just mentioned can make the difference when it comes to succeeding in these roles. We're almost at the end of this webinar, but before we say goodbye, we would like to cover some best practices that will drive patient satisfaction. In addition to the 3 main drivers we have already covered, at CCD, as an organization that considers continuous improvement as one of its core values, we consider tools from the customer experience field such as customer satisfaction surveys and Net Promoter Score surveys. Being one of the outstanding members of our team, where we often use these types of surveys, Julia will help us with a brief description of what CSAT is.
Sure. The Customer Satisfaction Survey, or CSAT, as it is known, is a measurement to determine whether a patient feels their expectations have been fulfilled with the practice or the practices service that they have received. So, an organization's average CSAT score reflects the percentage of patients who are satisfied with the services provided. It is measured in a percentage. So, for example, 100%, it's indicating that the patient is completely satisfied.
Well, now, CSAT, as mentioned by Julia, measures how satisfied patients are. The Net Promoter Score, or NPS, measures how loyal patients are to a practice or firm. NPS is the gold standard. It's considered the gold standard of customer experience metrics. NPS scores are measured with a single question survey, such as how likely are you to recommend a practice or organization to a friend or colleague? And it's reported on a scale from 0 to 10. From 8 to 10 is considered a great score. Oh, one last one that we have not used or heard in the past is to benchmark best practices from other industries that can be adapted to your market or practice. A brief example is the creation of playbooks, an exercise that is widely used in customer success to drive important actions at the specialist and management levels and that can gain improvements across the board. Okay, so as we come to the end of this webinar, the main takeaways we can leave you with are: when it comes to managing patient interactions, we must focus on doing those well by teaching our specialists to put themselves in the patient's shoes. This is achieved by focusing the training aspect on the required soft skills and by leveraging quality assurance as the main driver of continuous improvement. Finally, we must learn to establish clear attributes that can help in improving patient satisfaction while striving to treat the patient as we know him or her personally. Thank you very much for sharing this time with us. Thank you, Oscar. Thank you, Julia, for helping us share these valuable insights. On behalf of our team, we hope you got some great value out of this time together, and we look forward to seeing you at our upcoming events.
Thank you, Tomas. Thank you, team, so much for this very valuable information. But wait, please. We have arrived to a very special part or segment of the webinar, which I really enjoy, and that is the opportunity of giving the audience to interact with our team and ask them questions very relevant to what we have seen today. Please take into consideration that in order to be respectful of time, in case we're not able to answer all the questions, we will be reaching out directly to all of you. So um, just for you to understand the process, you can just go, in order to share your questions, go to the menu that you have on your top right, and you are going to select their questions and place them. As I see, we already have a couple. So this one I'm going to start, and this one is specifically addressed to Tomas, whereas it goes like this. How have you, being a call center, adapted the use of CSAT, and how effective has it been for your decision-making process?
Great question. And as we mentioned, we put the patient experience at the center of what we do. The customer satisfaction survey is a tool that it is used to understand how well we're doing our job. And together with the Net Promoter Score survey, completes the circle of what we need to do to continue to achieve best-in-class service for our partners and their patients.
Amazing. Thank you, Tomas, for that. We have another question, and this one's addressed to Oscar. You mentioned quality assurance as one of the main drivers for patient satisfaction. What are the essential skills you focus on as you train your agents, in this case our specialists, to treat my patients like real persons?
Well, thanks, Maciel. Well, actually, Thomas enumerated them, right? Globally is soft skills. We want to make sure we focus on teaching our specialist patients empathy, communication, active listening, and a positive attitude. As we say, Maciel, our employees in general, they can't give what they don't have. That's why we want to make sure we're teaching them throughout the training process how to manage all this.
Definitely, definitely. That's what we call taking people to actually own their position so much that they're able to put themselves in the place of the patient, because at one point in life we have all been a patient who has wanted to schedule and who has been nervous for whatever reason. So thank you very much, Oscar. Um, this is a question addressed to Julia. And with these questions, we will be closing. We will be, as I mentioned, addressing the ones that are left behind. How could your organization assure the retention of my patients? And this is a very good question indeed.
I was actually going to say the exact same thing. It's a really great question. And it's basically the summary of everything that we've been talking about during this wonderful webinar. But I think if I have to sum it up in maybe 3 bullets, I would start first with training. We train our specialists from day one on empathy and everything that Oscar just actually mentioned, so they can treat the patients how they would want to be treated. Then we follow up with this internally with our QA team, where we listen to calls and we assure that the agents are actually doing what we train them to do. And then finally, we evaluate externally with the survey. The CSAT that we mentioned earlier, we send this to the patients so we can see through the eyes of the patients if they are feeling that they're being treated in the way that we're wanting them to be treated.
You are on point on that. We can see in the eyes of the patient what is really going on and what they are experiencing. So that's gold, honestly. Well, team, I can't thank you enough. It has been a very good day today. It has been a very good webinar. I do without. I want to invite our audience to please stay aware to our next upcoming events. CCD is very constant on educational events. You can always go and visit, not only see the promotions of our webinars through the platforms that we have and channels, but you can also visit our resource center where you're going to have the opportunity of expanding your wisdom, let's call it like that, regarding aspects of your practices that may be annoying to you and you might not be aware or know that we can help you with that solution. So please feel free to reach out. Team, dream team, thank you so much. Tomas, Julia, Oscar, I do hope I could keep on having these webinars with you throughout the year, because it's definitely amazing, all of those important information you always share. So, and to the audience, please stay in touch. Our next webinar is going to be on June 8th, and it's going to be very interesting. So we are here. Just reach out to us. Thank you everyone for being in the audience today, and have a nice rest of your day.
Bye.